The A7 and A7CC is the latest line of e-ink smartphones to come out of Hisense. Hisense is a general electronics manufacturer that makes various things like TVs and home appliances. But they have a very unique division, and that is e-ink phones, and more importantly, color e-ink phones. We're not going to touch too much on what the phone can do and what it's capable of because we already did that, and you can watch the video here on our YouTube channel about the A7. This one's all about the screen, and we're going to have the A7 in the screen as well as the A7CC to show you guys some very crucial key differences between the two technologies. We're going to keep this super casual because we're going to be kind of bouncing back and forth between these two bad boys. Now, just looking at it as is, you will notice one crucial thing, and that is that the background of the A7 is more white, and the A7CC, the color version, is more gray and dull. And the reason is, there's actually a color filter array on this one, and it's trying to use colors to produce white. So by doing that, you end up having to use green, grays, purples, blues to make a white color background, whereas this doesn't need to do that. The A7 just simply has the e-ink particles drop to the ground and not show anything, and where it needs to show black or grays, the particles raise to the surface and are charged. So that's the first difference between these two, is that the whites are just going to be far more white on the black and white model. Yes, you can read on this phone. It is not an e-reader. It is a full 5G smartphone with an e-ink screen. You do have the ability to swipe, you can do pinch and zooms if you'd like to, and you can do long press depending on the application you're using. For this one is the Manga reader, so there are certain things you can and can't do. Tapping the center gives you some options, and it's all just going to look different based on what you are using. But if we were to bring in the A7, you will see that the A7CC just can't keep up, and you now have this huge divide in quality. And this is because, as we said earlier, this doesn't have to do anything to create a white or stone background color. It simply just does it by its inherent nature. So you start to see this huge difference in qualities when you're looking at a color-based device and a non-color-based device. PDFs, however, are a different story. You get full color, and they look just about the same in terms of the whites and the blacks, and this is because there's a little more depth when it comes to PDF files, obviously depending on what PDF file you are using. But something like a magazine, you're going to stop seeing all the problems of a color screen with how dull the blacks and the whites are and how more rich it is on a non-color, because you're just going to be focused on the reason you're using a PDF in the first place. A huge trend in the e-reader world is manga. They had the Amazon Kindle Manga model. They have the Progress Technologies E1Note Manga dual screen 7.8-inch e-ink reader made out of real paper, and countless Japanese services and services from around the world that offer manga on digital formats. The A7 and the A7CC are perfect screen sizes for manga, and they look fantastic. Doesn't matter if you're reading it in black and white, because black and white is actually what manga is like in Japan and most of the world. Because the insides of these phones are identical in every possible way, things like e-ink settings, glow light, and the speed modes all exist over from the previous version. If you want to see more on clear, balanced, smooth, and speed mode as well as e-ink settings, we do have several individual videos on our YouTube channel about those. If there was ever a time to make the switch from an LCD LED smartphone to an e-ink smartphone, this would be the only opportunity. We wouldn't really recommend going for anything like the Kingro, the Yotaphone, the Oaxis cases. This is the time, if any, you would make the switch. The A7CC is a fully fledged and fully functional 5G smartphone with all the specs, USB-C, headphone jack, speaker pack, SD card, and even a proprietary e-ink button. This thing is a smartphone for all intents and purposes, and it's running a color e-ink screen and the latest generation of that. In the world of smartphones, it's going to be a night and day difference, but in the world of e-ink, there's no compromise. This thing is fully loaded and fully functional. If you want to buy this, it is available on our website, ships anywhere in the world, and for a full review of the A7CC by Hisense, this is Peter.